The unseen potential. The Zarian observation vessel hung silently in the darkness of space, its advanced sensors meticulously scanning the blue-green planet below. Dr. Xalek Vorin adjusted the quantum resolution imaging array, his multiple eyes narrowing with a mixture of confusion and mild contempt. Another failed attempt, he muttered to his research assistant, Nara Krell. The holographic display flickered with images of what appeared to be another unsuccessful technological experiment from Earth. Primitive-looking machines twisted and faltered, mechanisms grinding and sparking in what seemed like a perpetual state of malfunction. The Zarian Stellar Research Council had been monitoring human technological development for decades, and their conclusions were unanimous. Humanity was a species perpetually on the brink of technological collapse. Their machines were crude, their systems inconsistent, their approach to innovation seemingly random and inefficient. Nara leaned closer to the display, her sensory tendrils twitching with an unusual pattern. "There's something different about this one," she suggested, her voice carrying a hint of uncertainty. Dr. Vorin scoffed. "Different? It's another spectacular failure. Look how the energy systems destabilize. Look at the complete lack of precision in their engineering." What the Zarians didn't understand, what they couldn't comprehend, was the true nature of human innovation. Each apparent failure was a calculated step, each seemingly random malfunction, a deliberate exploration of technological boundaries. In a small research facility nestled in the mountains of Colorado, Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched the same experimental sequence with a knowing smile. To the untrained eye, the prototype looked like it was falling apart. To her, it was working exactly as intended. "Quantum adaptive resonance," she whispered to her team. "We're teaching the system to learn from its own failures." The team around her represented a microcosm of human potential. Marcus Chen, a quantum computing specialist with hands that moved like lightning across holographic interfaces. Dr. Aisha Okonkwo, whose expertise in materials science pushed the boundaries of what was possible. James Rodriguez, Elena's brother, an aerospace engineer who saw potential where others saw limitations. Their project was deceptively simple yet revolutionary. They were developing a technological system that didn't just adapt, it anticipated. Each failure was not an endpoint, but a data point, a moment of learning that would reshape the entire approach to technological development. Thousands of miles away, in a secure military research facility, similar experiments were unfolding. General Catherine Armstrong reviewed the latest reports, her experienced eyes catching nuances that would escape most observers. The seemingly random failures were anything but random. They were a complex dance of intentional misdirection, a technological sleight of hand that would prove crucial in the coming challenges. "They're watching," she said to her lead technical advisor, Dr. Michael Chen. "And they're seeing exactly what we want them to see." The Zarian observation vessel continued its silent vigil. Dr. Vorin compiled his report, his conclusions dripping with academic condescension. Humanity was a species of technological children, stumbling and failing, never quite understanding the sophisticated principles of advanced engineering. If only he knew. Each failed experiment was a puzzle piece. Each malfunctioning prototype was a deliberate step in a grand design. Humanity was not failing. They were learning. They were preparing. And the galaxy had no idea what was coming. Back in the Colorado research facility, Elena Rodriguez looked up from her calculations and smiled. The next phase was about to begin. "Prepare the next prototype," she said quietly. "It's time to show them what we can really do." The machines hummed to life, their seemingly chaotic movements hiding a precision that would soon change everything. Humanity's true potential was about to be unleashed, not with a bang, but with a carefully calculated whisper of technological innovation. The universe was about to learn that human potential was far more than it appeared, far more dangerous, far more brilliant, and entirely unexpected. Technological deception. The Zarian research vessel, Quantum Insight, drifted silently through the void, its observation systems continuously probing the Earth and its surrounding space. Dr. Xalek Vorin had spent the last 6 solar cycles meticulously documenting what he believed was irrefutable evidence of human technological incompetence. In the facility deep within the Colorado mountains, the real story was unfolding. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a holographic display, her team gathered around her. The room hummed with an electric anticipation that bordered on excitement. Marcus Chen manipulated complex data streams, his fingers dancing across quantum interfaces that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. Stage 2 begins now, Elena announced, her voice calm, but charged with an underlying current of determination. What the Zarians saw was a carefully crafted illusion. Every technological test, every seemingly failed experiment was a calculated move in a grand strategic game. Humanity was not struggling with technology. They were mastering the art of technological misdirection. Dr. Aisha Okonkwo approached the main console, her dark eyes scanning multiple data streams simultaneously. Quantum adaptive resonance is holding at 87% efficiency, she reported. The alien observation systems are picking up exactly what we want them to see. On the quantum insight, Dr. Vorin was preparing another comprehensive report. His multiple eyes tracked the latest human technological test, a series of what appeared to be catastrophically failing communication arrays. Signals scattered, systems flickered, and components seemed to collapse in a spectacular display of apparent incompetence. Another remarkable display of technological ineptitude. Vorin dictated to his research log. The human communication systems demonstrate a consistent failure to maintain stable signal integrity. Their approach to technological development continues to defy any rational understanding of scientific progress. What Vorin didn't realize was that every scattered signal, every apparent system failure was a precisely engineered piece of a much larger puzzle. General Catherine Armstrong watched from a secure military command center, her experienced gaze tracking the global network of hidden technological installations. The human response to potential extraterrestrial threats was not a singular effort. It was a global collaboration that transcended traditional boundaries. Initiate Phase 2, she commanded softly. Across the world, seemingly unrelated research facilities began to synchronize. A team in Japan developed a breakthrough in quantum material science. A Russian research group made what appeared to be a random discovery in adaptive computing. A Brazilian laboratory unveiled a new approach to energy transfer that seemed completely disconnected from any military application. To the Zarians, these looked like isolated, potentially unsuccessful technological experiments. In reality, they were carefully orchestrated pieces of a global technological defense strategy. Back in the Colorado facility, James Rodriguez worked on the next layer of their deception. The alien observation systems are completely blind to our true capabilities, he reported, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. We're feeding them exactly the narrative they expect. The true genius of the human approach was its simplicity. By appearing weak, by showing consistent and predictable failures, they were building a shield of misunderstanding. The Zarians were so convinced of human technological inferiority that they would never see the true threat coming. Dr. Elena Rodriguez understood something fundamental about technological innovation that the Zarians missed entirely. Innovation was not about perfection, it was about adaptation. It was about learning from failure, about seeing opportunity in what others considered a mistake. On the quantum insight, Dr. Vorin continued to compile his report. Recommendation, he dictated, continued observation with minimal threat assessment. The humans pose no significant technological risk to our civilization. If only he knew. The global network of human researchers continued their work. Each seemingly failed experiment was a data point. Each apparent technological setback was a step toward something extraordinary. They were building something the Zarians couldn't comprehend. A technological approach that was fluid, adaptive, and completely unpredictable. Humanity was not struggling with technology. They were revolutionizing it. And the galaxy had no idea what was coming. The catalyst of innovation, The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka sat in her small laboratory in Hokkaido, surrounded by what looked like a chaotic array of experimental equipment. To the untrained eye, it appeared to be nothing more than a collection of failed prototypes and discarded components. To her, it was the edge of a technological revolution. Her latest project had begun as a seemingly impossible challenge, creating a communication system that could adapt faster than any known technological framework. The Zarians, still convinced of human technological inferiority, continued their distant observation, seeing nothing more than another potential failure. They were wrong. The key came from an unconventional merger of disciplines. Tanaka had combined quantum computing principles with bioadaptive neural networks, drawing inspiration from both cutting-edge technology and the most fundamental principles of biological adaptation. Her team included Dr. Rafael Ortiz, a neurobiologist with a radical approach to computational thinking, and Dr. Sarah Lindholm, a quantum physicist whose work had been consistently dismissed by traditional academic circles. "It's not about creating a perfect system," Tanaka explained to her team. "It's about creating a system that can imperfectly adapt faster than any external threat can respond." Thousands of miles away, in the Colorado Research Facility, Dr. Elena Rodriguez received the first encrypted transmission. Her eyes widened as she decoded the data. This was more than a breakthrough. It was a fundamental reimagining of technological potential. The Zarian observation vessel continued its silent vigil, its sensors detecting nothing more than what appeared to be another series of failed experimental attempts. Dr. Xalek Vorin continued to compile reports that reinforced the galactic scientific community's view of humans as technological novices. But something was changing. The bioadaptive neural network that Tanaka had developed wasn't just a communication system. It was a living, breathing technological organism that could learn, adapt, and evolve faster than any traditional computational framework. Each apparent failure was actually a moment of learning, a rapid evolutionary step that traditional technological models could never achieve. General Catherine Armstrong understood the implications immediately. This wasn't just a technological advancement. It was a completely new approach to technological development, a system that could think, adapt, and respond faster than any external threat could process. "We're not just building a defense," she told her strategic planning team. "We're creating a living technological ecosystem." The global network of researchers began to synchronize their efforts. What looked like isolated, unrelated research projects to the Zarians was actually a carefully orchestrated global collaboration. Each breakthrough, each seemingly random discovery was a piece of a much larger puzzle. In the Hokkaido laboratory, Dr. Tanaka ran another series of tests. To outside observers, the results would look like a complete failure. Signals scattered, systems appeared to collapse, components seemed to malfunction in spectacular ways. But each of those failures was a step of adaptation. Each scattered signal was the system learning, growing, evolving. Dr. Rafael Ortiz watched the data streams, a smile playing on his lips. "They have no idea," he muttered. The Zarians were looking for perfection, for linear technological progress. Humanity was creating something entirely different, a technological approach that embraced imperfection as its greatest strength. The catalyst of innovation wasn't a single breakthrough. It was a fundamental shift in understanding. Technology wasn't about creating perfect systems. It was about creating systems that could adapt, learn, and evolve faster than any potential threat could comprehend. As the Zarian observation vessel continued its silent monitoring, humanity was preparing something the galaxy had never seen before, a technological approach that was alive, dynamic, and completely unpredictable. The next phase was about to begin, and the universe had no idea what was coming. Collaborative resistance. The United Nations Special Technology Coordination Center hummed with an intensity that bordered on electric. Representatives from every corner of the globe had converged, united by a single purpose that transcended national boundaries, political differences, and historical conflicts. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of the massive circular conference room, holographic displays flickering around her with streams of data from research facilities worldwide. The room represented humanity's most powerful weapon: collaborative innovation. "We're no longer preparing," she announced, her voice cutting through the ambient noise. "We're ready." The breakthrough from Dr. Yuki Tanaka's bioadaptive neural network had changed everything. What the Zarians saw as isolated, inefficient research was actually the global technological ecosystem, a living, breathing network of innovation that could adapt faster than any external threat could comprehend. General Catherine Armstrong stepped forward, her military background tempered by a deep understanding of technological potential. "Our strength has never been in individual perfection," she explained to the assembled international team. "Our strength is our ability to collaborate, to adapt, to transform challenges into opportunities." Around the world, seemingly unrelated research facilities began to synchronize their efforts. A quantum computing center in India shared breakthrough algorithms with a materials science lab in Brazil. A neural network research team in South Africa collaborated with artificial intelligence experts in Canada. What appeared to be random, disconnected research was actually a carefully orchestrated global defense strategy. Dr. Rafael Ortiz from the Hokkaido team presented the latest developments in their adaptive technology. The holographic display showed what looked like chaotic, failing systems, exactly the image the Zarians had been led to believe represented human technological capabilities. "Imperfection is our greatest strength," Ortiz explained. "Traditional technological approaches seek to eliminate error. We're creating systems that learn from error, that transform failure into adaptive intelligence." The Zarian observation vessel continued its distant monitoring, its sensors detecting nothing more than what appeared to be another series of inconsistent, inefficient human technological experiments. Dr. Xalek Vorin compiled another report detailing humanity's apparent technological incompetence, completely unaware of the true nature of what was developing. Sarah Lindholm, the quantum physicist, demonstrated how their new technological approach could instantaneously adapt to changing conditions. What looked like a system collapse was actually a rapid reconfiguration, a technological organism that could reshape itself faster than any external threat could analyze. "We're not building weapons," General Armstrong emphasized. "We're building a defensive ecosystem, a living, adaptive network that can respond to threats in ways no traditional military strategy could ever imagine." The global team represented the true face of human potential. Scientists, military strategists, engineers, and researchers from every background, every culture, united by a single vision. They understood something fundamental that the Zarians had missed entirely. True innovation comes from diversity, from the ability to see potential where others see only limitations. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's bioadaptive neural network was more than a technological breakthrough. It was a philosophy of innovation. Each apparent failure was a moment of learning. Each scattered signal was a step of evolution. The system didn't just process information, it learned, grew, and transformed. As the meeting continued, encrypted communications spread across the global network. What looked like random data transfers to any external observer was actually a sophisticated synchronization of human technological potential. Each research facility, each team was a node in a living, breathing technological organism. The Zarians were watching a carefully crafted illusion. Humanity appeared weak, inefficient, technologically primitive. They had no idea of the true capabilities being developed, a technological approach so dynamic, so adaptive, that it defied traditional understanding of innovation. "The next phase begins now," Dr. Elena Rodriguez said, her eyes reflecting the holographic displays that surrounded her. "We're not just preparing a defense. We're redefining what technological potential means." Outside the conference center, the world continued its ordinary rhythm. But something extraordinary was taking shape, a collaborative resistance that would soon challenge everything the galaxy believed about human potential. And the universe had no idea what was coming. The unexpected counterattack. The first indication that something was wrong came as a subtle disruption in the Zarian observation network. Commander Zarakel frowned at the holographic display aboard the observation vessel, Quantum Insight. Tiny anomalies began to appear, microscopic interruptions in their supposedly impenetrable sensor grid. Dr. Zalek Vorin dismissed them as simple system glitches, another example of what he considered human technological incompetence. They were wrong. Deep within a network of hidden facilities scattered across the globe, humanity's true technological potential was about to be unleashed. The bioadaptive neural network developed by Dr. Yuki Tanaka was more than a communication system. It was a living, evolving technological organism that had been quietly spreading through every digital and quantum communication channel. General Catherine Armstrong stood in the central command center, her weathered hands hovering over a holographic interface that pulsed with an almost organic rhythm. "Initiate phase transition," she commanded. Around the world, what appeared to be random technological systems began to synchronize. A satellite communication array in Brazil, a quantum research facility in Japan, a deep space monitoring station in Australia. Each looked independent, but they were actually nodes in a global technological network that was about to demonstrate its true capabilities. On the Quantum Insight, the first real warning came when their primary observation systems began to behave strangely. Sensors that had been tracking Earth with perfect precision suddenly became unreliable. Data streams twisted, quantum entanglement patterns collapsed, and information began to flow in ways that defied known physical laws. "Something's interfering with our systems," reported Navigator Krell, her multiple sensory tendrils twitching with growing concern. Dr. Vorin remained dismissive. "Impossible. These are humans. Their technology is generations behind our capabilities." The counterattack was nothing like a traditional military engagement. There were no massive weapon systems, no traditional displays of force. Instead, the human technological network began to do something entirely unexpected. It began to learn, to adapt, to transform the very fabric of technological interaction. Quantum communication channels that the Zarians believed were secure suddenly became transparent. Their most advanced encryption systems began to unravel not through brute force, but through an adaptive intelligence that could anticipate and transform faster than any defensive mechanism could respond. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched from the Colorado Research Facility as the global network they had carefully constructed began its true purpose. "We're not attacking," she explained to her team. "We're communicating in a language they've never understood." The Zarian observation vessel found itself caught in a technological web that seemed to breathe with intelligence. Their sensors, their communication systems, their very ability to observe began to change. It wasn't a destruction of their technology. It was a complete reimagining of technological potential. "We're showing them what innovation really means," Dr. Rafael Ortiz commented, watching the data streams flow with an almost poetic complexity. Commander Zarakel began to understand the true nature of the threat. This wasn't a traditional attack. This was a fundamental challenge to everything the Zarian civilization understood about technology, about communication, about the very nature of intelligent systems. The bioadaptive neural network developed by Dr. Tanaka was revealing its true purpose. It wasn't just a communication system. It was a technological ecosystem that could learn, adapt, and transform faster than any external threat could comprehend. Across the Zarian observation network, systems began to change. Not destroyed, but transformed, redesigned, reimagined. Dr. Vorin's dismissive attitude crumbled as he watched systems he had considered infallible become something entirely new. The humans weren't just communicating, they were rewriting the fundamental rules of technological interaction. "We're not fighting," General Armstrong said softly. "We're evolving." As the Zarian observation vessel drifted in a sea of technological uncertainty, humanity demonstrated a truth that would reshape galactic understanding. True innovation isn't about perfection. It's about adaptation. It's about seeing potential where others see only limitation. The counterattack was complete. and it had changed everything. Redefining galactic dynamics. The aftermath was unlike anything the galactic community had ever experienced. The Zarian Stellar Council convened in an emergency session, their typically ornate chamber now filled with a tension that bordered on existential uncertainty. Commander Zarakil stood at the center, presenting findings that challenged everything they believed about technological development and interstellar communication. "They didn't attack us," Zarakil explained, her voice carrying a mixture of wonder and profound respect. "They redefined the very concept of technological interaction." Dr. Elena Rodriguez represented humanity in the first true diplomatic engagement, not as a military representative, not as a technological expert, but as a bridge between fundamentally different ways of understanding innovation and potential. The holographic display showed the transformation that had occurred during what the Zarians had initially perceived as an attack. Instead of destruction, there was adaptation. Instead of conflict, there was communication on a level so sophisticated it defied their previous understanding of technological exchange. "We're not seeking conquest," Rodriguez explained to the assembled galactic representatives. "We're offering a new way of understanding technological potential." The breakthrough went far beyond a simple technological demonstration. It was a philosophical revolution that challenged fundamental assumptions about intelligence, adaptation, and progress. The bioadaptive neural network developed by Dr. Yuki Tanaka had proven to be more than a communication system. It was a living example of collaborative intelligence. Dr. Rafael Ortiz, who had been instrumental in developing the adaptive technologies, presented the core philosophy. "Innovation isn't about eliminating failure," he explained. "It's about transforming failure into opportunity, about seeing potential in what others consider limitations." The Zarian scientists began to understand something profound. The human approach to technology was fundamentally different from their own. Where the Zarians sought perfection, humans embraced adaptation. Where the Zarians saw limitations, humans saw possibilities. General Catherine Armstrong stood beside Rodriguez, representing the collaborative nature of human potential. "We're not a unified military force," she explained. "We're a global network of innovators, each bringing the unique perspective to solving complex challenges." The galactic diplomatic community watched in awe as humanity demonstrated a technological approach that was simultaneously more chaotic and more intelligent than any system they had encountered. It wasn't about individual brilliance. It was about collective potential. Dr. Exalec Vorin, who had once dismissed human capabilities, now found himself at the forefront of a new field of study. The very foundations of technological understanding were being rewritten. "We misunderstood everything," Vorin admitted to the council. "Technological potential isn't about perfection. It's about adaptability, about seeing beyond current limitations." The transformation extended beyond technology. It was a fundamental reimagining of what intelligent communication could mean. The bioadaptive neural network had shown that true innovation comes from diversity, from the ability to learn, to transform, to see potential where others see only barriers. As the diplomatic discussions continued, it became clear that humanity had done something extraordinary. They hadn't conquered through force. They had transformed understanding through innovation. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, watching from her research facility in Hokkaido, understood the true significance of their breakthrough. "We didn't just develop a new technology," she said softly to her team. "We demonstrated a new way of existing. The galactic community would never be the same." Humanity had shown that true potential isn't about being the most advanced. It's about being the most adaptable, about seeing beyond current limitations, about transforming challenges into opportunities. And the universe was only beginning to understand what that truly meant. As the first true diplomatic engagement concluded, one thing became abundantly clear: the game had changed. Humanity had redefined not just technological potential, but the very concept of interstellar communication and collaboration. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with a new possibility.